Hi, my name's Richard Dormandy and I'm the Vicar of Holy Trinity here in Tulse Hill. And today I want to tell you something about our all-age worship, why we do it, what it's about, what we get up to, because there's all sorts of things we do on that first Sunday of the month. And we like to liken it to a big family meal. When we come to church, Sunday by Sunday, we do all sorts of things. And one of those things that we do is we feed. We feed together on the Word and the Spirit of God. We meet with God in that worship time. And we do that also in our all-age worship, but we do it in a slightly different way. And so I want to take you through some of the ways in which we worship in our all-age sessions and why we liken them to a family meal. Now, we all have our favourite foods, and I don't know what your favourite foods are. I have lots of things that are my favourite foods, and some of those foods we think of as kids' foods. Some of those things we think of as adult foods. When I go down to Sainsbury's, I look in the cereal aisles and I see a sign that says adult cereals. It's all serious stuff like muesli and oats and all sorts of things like that. And I wonder what it is that draws me to go to the Sugar Puffs aisle, the place which is supposedly children's cereals, but they're still cereals, they're still food, no matter how we designate them as adult or children. And when we come to an all-age service, there are things that appear to be just children's songs or children's games or kids' things, kids' bits, but actually they're items that can speak to all of us and that can feed all of us in the different ways. So in all-age worship, just like in a family meal, there's also parts of the service that you might think are just the trimmings. And I don't know if you like the trimmings, if you like the crackling on the meat or on the joint, or if you like the marzipan and the icing on the Christmas cake. I love those, or the little silver balls. They have always been part of my favourites. Those are the trimmings. We don't give them much value, really, but they are still important parts of that meal. And in all-age worship, there are things that might appear to be just the trimmings. Maybe the games that we play, maybe the little rhymes that we might make up, or the shouts or the dance moves we might have in our all-age worship. But even those are part of the meal, and they're there to help us learn together about God. When we play a game in all-age worship, it's never simply a game. It's always there for a purpose. It always has a point to teach us. It always has something to get across that will be contributing to the teaching of the overall theme of that particular service. So don't ever think, oh, this is just a game. This is a part of the meal. Equally, there are times in the meal when we come together that you might have adult conversation. You may be talking in a little bit of code. It may be that a child has a birthday coming up and you try to talk about the present that you've got. You say, have you got it? Have you ordered it? You hope that the child won't understand. Of course, usually that child knows exactly what you're talking about, but nevertheless, you try to have an adult conversation that the children aren't really participating in at all. When we have those conversations, whether they're to do with the child or something else, maybe they're to do with politics or work or something like that, we recognise that we're in a setting where children are there, so we don't go on for too long. We don't want to bore the children. We keep it short, and we pay special attention to what we're saying and how we're saying it. And in our all-age worship, I see the talk, the sermon, if you like, the talk as being a bit like that adult conversation. We take just 3 or 4 minutes to convey something important and concise to the adults. Now, sometimes people listen to our all-age talks and they say, well, 4 minutes, was that all? What can you convey in 4 minutes? but it's no different to an hour and 40-minute sermon. Maybe that's the way that some people have their adult conversations, and that's fine. But you can still have that adult conversation in just 4 minutes. The important thing is to pay attention. Blink and you'll miss it. It's only going to be 3 to 4 minutes long. There will be something in it for me. There will be a message from God for me. There may well be something I haven't even thought of before. I must listen attentively. But of course, the talk is only one way of learning as well. We have many ways in which we learn. Some people learn best by listening to a story. Other people learn by listening to a testimony. Other people learn by doing something, by acting something out, by writing something down, by drawing something. People learn in all sorts of ways. Some people learn by turning something over in the quietness, or by watching a film that'll make them think. That's why in our all-age worship, when we have such diversity of people there, we want to have a diversity of different activities so that we can help people learn in the way that suits them best. One of the things that we always have in our all-age worship is a memory verse. Just one verse. It's not a long passage that we go into in depth, just one verse to reflect on and to remember, to bring home, to sum up, to gather together the whole theme of the service, but also something that we can repeat, learn, memorize, and therefore take forward as we continue our Christian journey on our way. Something that will continue to have good effect in our lives as we go on. Another thing that we always have is a creative prayer time, an opportunity to take forward the theme of the service right into our spiritual lives. And that might involve making something or writing something down. It might involve bringing a prayer that we've written or maybe just put our name to, bringing that prayer to the front. It might involve taking something home with us, keeping it maybe in a Bible, in our purse, sticking it on the fridge, something to remind ourselves of God's presence. It might involve being quiet. It might involve some bustle. At some point in that prayer time, there will always be a time of quiet, a time for the Holy Spirit to do the Spirit's work in our hearts, a time for us to bring those very personal things to God. And that's like the time during the meal when everyone's been served, all the food's out, and suddenly it all goes quiet. What's happening? We're eating. We're enjoying the food. We're letting it sink in and we're digesting it. And in the same way, when we come to our prayer times, we're digesting the reality of God's presence. As we often say, we breathe in the presence of God. Well, right at the end of our service of all-age worship, we also always have a challenge. We always end with a challenge, something practical to do in the week or weeks to come. It may be the weeks to come till the next all-age service. It may be the weeks to come till Christmas or till Easter, depending on what's coming up, really. It might be a challenge to read part of the Bible. It might be a challenge to talk to someone about your faith. It might be a challenge to make contact with an old friend. It might be a challenge to make contact with someone who maybe you've fallen out with. It may be a challenge to pray for someone in particular. And again, that's a bit like the family meal. That's like that time maybe at the end of the meal where your auntie says to you, "Now don't forget to phone me and tell me your results. Don't forget." Well, in a family meal, everyone has their moment. Grandad might be there telling his same old jokes again and again. Mum might be there. She might be embarrassing her teenage children again. The little ones might be required to show how much they've been growing up. Perhaps there's something to celebrate, an exam that's been passed, or a job that someone's got, or completing a course. Or maybe there's someone new to the family to welcome in, a friend or a neighbour, a new family member perhaps, a baby or a fiancé, or a new girlfriend or boyfriend. And at a family meal, therefore, everyone is included and everyone has their moment. Well, in a church service, of course, not everyone can have their moment every month, but we like to have moments where we spotlight particular people. And so here at Holy Trinity, we always have the kneeling place for the little toddlers to come and learn or sing a new song with Charmaine. Or we have every other month roughly, we have the senior singers choir come up and sing an uplifting song. Or every month we have an interview with someone, an ordinary person from the congregation. It's called Your Christian Profile. We ask them a little bit about how they came to Holy Trinity, and then we'll ask them one or two more poignant questions about their spiritual life and how it relates to the theme that we're looking at, Your Christian Profile. And of course, when we have an adult baptism or a child that is old enough to speak for themselves, we interview them as well, because we have baptisms about every other all-age service, every other month. And that's a great opportunity to welcome new people to the family of God. And of course, when we meet together and do all these things, God is present. You may remember those plaques that were on, people sometimes have them up. You may have one up still yourself. Christ is the head of this household, the unseen guest at every meal. And just as God is present in our family meals and in our homes, God is present here too, as we worship all together. All-age worship isn't just something for everyone, it's everyone taking part in something.